because 50% of this product is that organic matter, we're replenishing the soil as well as adding nutrients to it every year. So we get the productivity from the nutrients and we build up the value and the richness of that soil so that we can keep growing crops year over year.
EarthRenew Inc. is a client and sponsor of PinnacleDigest.com, whose parent company owns shares of EarthRenew Inc. Please read the full disclosure at the end of this video.
Healthy soil and clean water are two of the most vital natural resources we have. They help create and sustain life. Unfortunately, about half of all fertile, food-producing soils globally are classified as degraded, many of them severely degraded. Soil degradation has global implications, from food security to climate change and drinking water quality. Simply put, soil degradation is the physical, chemical, and biological decline in soil. It is caused by several factors, one of which is the loss of organic matter in soil. As soil organic matter decreases, it becomes increasingly difficult to grow plants. Lack of organic matter in soil is not only an environmental problem, but an economic one as well, as it negatively affects yields over the long term. Many farmers around the world are looking to organic fertilizers to help boost their soil's organic content while satisfying growing consumer demand for organically certified foods. Although the organic fertilizer sector is relatively immature, already usage data shows a substantial jump in organic fertilizer use in recent years, with strong CAGR projections into the near future. According to Markets and Markets researchers, the global organic fertilizer market is expected to grow from $6.3 billion US in 2017 to $11.1 billion in 2022, representing a CAGR of 12%. Initiatives encouraging the use of organic fertilizers is one positive step for the environment and the long-term economics of farming. However, implementing on a broad scale will take more than just words. Innovation is likely required. I'm here in Alberta, Canada, a province known for its vast oil reserves. But in recent years, thanks to support from federal and provincial governments, universities, and research institutions, it is emerging as a global leader in food and agriculture technology. Alberta-based ag tech company EarthRenew has a patented thermal processing technology that allows it to turn livestock waste into powerful, all-natural organic fertilizer. EarthRenew aims to support more sustainable farming practices through its two-pronged business strategy. First, with its technology, the company aims to provide farmers with an economic way of disposing of manure, which has up to now represented a liability in many cases because of hauling and disposal fees. However, if repurposed into organic fertilizer, manure could be a value-added asset that has the potential to help improve crop yield, but may also provide an environmentally safe alternative to chemical fertilizers. Second, EarthRenew aims to provide a suite of organic fertilizers for a broad range of crop needs. The company reports that its base organic fertilizer formula offers 120 to 145% of the yield achieved from an equivalent application of chemical fertilizer. Now we're headed to Strathmore, Alberta, to visit the company's facility. EarthRenew's flagship Strathmore facility is located about an hour outside of Calgary, which is currently in the redevelopment and planning phase. It is located on roughly a 25,000 head cattle feedlot and has received facility permitting and operations approval from the Ministry of Alberta Environment and Parks. Well, the wind's picked up. Let's talk about manure, power generation, and organic fertilizer. These are the three pillars that make up EarthRenew's business model. Can you talk about how you guys help to make farming more sustainable?
Absolutely. So for an operation like this, manure is the #1 byproduct that they produce. It's a waste product that they've got to get out of the pens and into the fields, and that just costs them money. So what we do is we take that manure, we process it on site. We use the waste heat that comes from the generation of the electricity. We use that to treat the manure, turn it into organic fertilizer. And we get it in a form where we can put it right in the row with the seed so we get the maximum benefit of it when we're growing crops.
Now, Keith, farmers have been using traditional chemical fertilizer for decades. There's obviously a reason for that. It works. What makes you think that farmers on a broad scale are going to want to, switch over to organics?
So there's market trends that are pushing us towards organic, whether that's in beef, whether that's in vegetables and otherwise. And so the chemical fertilizers are just not applicable in those types of operations. And so we need sources of consistent manure that we can apply with precision agriculture. So we got to take the best of what's come from the conventional world and apply that in the organic space so that we can grow crops at the scale that we need.
And who are the major players when we look at the organic fertilizer market?
So there's a few regional, it's very fragmented, and it's varying qualities and types of product. And what we're hoping to do here with ERTH is provide a consistent product that runs through conventional farming equipment that's available broadly, so that we can try and consolidate some of that product and demand so that it can scale as an industry. Otherwise, they're dealt with local players that are using local ingredients, typically of low value, that they're finding a way to work into the field.
So we've moved over to the other side of the plant. There's finished product in that silo behind us. When we talk about your market offering, what stage of development are you at for the organic fertilizer?
So we spent the last year taking our base formula, working on getting it into the pelleted form so we can deliver it right into the soil for the farmer. We've done a number of blends now with some other high-value products. We got some biochar and some insect frass that have particular value for us. And we've got those going out to field trials for this summer. So we got a number of local farmers that are using it. And we've also got Olds College and Lethbridge College that are going to run specific field trials. All of this is geared so at the end of the summer, we have a great data set with the data going back at about 10 years of using this product in time for when we launch and we have fertilizer delivered to the market for spring of 2021.
Looking at yield, your base organic fertilizer formula is returning higher levels than chemical fertilizers for the same equivalent application. Can you talk about how much higher yield you're getting?
So the big difference comes in the form in which we deliver those nutrients. So because it comes in a slow release pellet, it's not all sprayed on that can then be washed away by rain. This sits in the soil and becomes the soil, and therefore those nutrients are biologically available for the plants as they grow. And so we get a longer period of nutrient delivery, which has more value to the plant as it grows, as opposed to spot applications.
And just talking about the organic fertilizer as a whole, what other unique features does it offer, in comparison to traditional chemical fertilizers?
The process that we cook it with allows us to retain the high level of organic matter. And if you think about all the land around us, it's really that top layer of organic matter that defines what grows and what doesn't grow. And so because 50% of this product is that organic matter, we're replenishing the soil as well as adding nutrients to it every year. So we get the productivity from the nutrients and we build up the value and the richness of that soil so that we can keep growing crops year over year.
So we've talked about your product, organic fertilizer. Let's talk about the production facility that we're at. In April, the company reported you guys were finalizing your redevelopment plans for the facility. Can you talk about the success you've had and what those redevelopment plans look like?
This plant has been operating as a production facility. Pretty simple process. Waste heat comes off the turbine that we get electricity from, goes into the dryer. From the dryer, we take that material, we run it through and make the pellets. What we're doing now is we're going to upgrade that dryer, and we're going to change the way we do the pelleting so we can get those formulations that'll fit in modern agricultural equipment.
Let's talk about January. I understand it was a record month in terms of selling electricity back to the grid. How did that shake out and what enabled that to happen?
So this plant operates right now as a peaking facility. So we provide power whenever the grid needs it for peak hot, peak cold. In January, we had a particularly cold stretch. We were able to turn on for a couple of days right in the heat of it and get that high power price for that period of time.
And after the redevelopment, do you expect that to continue and to continue to sell electricity back to the grid?
Yes, because we'll be running 24/7 while we're producing pellets, so we'll be able to catch all of those peak opportunities, but also operate 24/7, so we won't have the risk of missing any of those peaks. So by operating the whole time, we can run the facility, use that power for ourselves, and when that peak price hits, we can shift over and provide all that power to the grid.
And are you hoping that's going to offset a lot of your costs as it relates to producing the organic fertilizer?
That's the secret here. So we take that heat, the power that we generate, and all that value from the electricity offsets the power of the cost of the power. And so we get that heat effectively into our treatment plant for free.
I understand there's been a ton of R&D, work here over the years. A lot of money has been spent. Can you give us a bit of scope in terms of the history of this production facility?
So this production facility is actually 10 years old. It was originally designed as a prototype for a set of facilities that were to be built across North America. They put $70 million behind it. They started on the second facility and they got into some trouble commercially. What we've done here is been able to grab all those assets and all that knowledge and all those patents, get them all back up and working, and get the patents put back in place. And now we're ready to go again, this time with a better understanding of the product and a better timing in terms of the value of the manure and the value of that organic fertilizer.
Keith, before we wrap up, what can we potentially look forward to from the company as it pertains to the commercial rollout strategy?
So we're looking at a couple of different ways. So number one, we're getting the plant back up and running. We're also working with field trials with universities and with farmers to get that product done. And then we're working with a number of distributors to get set up. Everything's geared towards having product ready to go for spring of 2021.
And why will cattle farmers continue to contact Earth Renew?
As demand for food and meat products continues, so does the problem with fertilizer. And folks are paying more attention to the environmental impacts of that, and therefore putting more and more pressure on ranchers and to manage that manure responsibly. And that's where we provide that solution. On the organic side, the organic aisle in Safeway, it's there. It's established, it's not going anywhere, but what we're seeing is growth year over year, where as people are spending more time thinking about where their food comes from, particularly during this time where food and food security are so top of mind, the momentum behind that is clearly pushing behind us here, and that's a wave that's going to carry us.
Keith, thanks for having us. It's been a real pleasure.
Anytime.
The capital markets may be shifting toward more environmentally conscious investment opportunities. Historical farming practices, which includes the use of traditional chemical fertilizers, are being reevaluated by many consumers, farmers, investors, and governing bodies. By transforming livestock waste into a high-performance organic fertilizer, Earth Renew aims to support more sustainable farming practices. Like this video and subscribe to never miss another adventure.